Hello everyone, Alex here from WarrenOffKeys.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can host your MongoDB server in the cloud for free using MongoDB.com. So once you're here, you can click on Try for Free at the top right. Here you should be selected on Cloud, and you're going to want to enter all of your information and click Get Started for Free. I already have an account, so I will be signing in with mine. So once you're signed in, you should see a page like this that says clusters. Ignore this is for another project of mine. You should see a create new cluster button. It might also be in the center of your screen. You want to go ahead and click on that. Then here you see you can configure the different clusters. So you can select AWS and North Virginia, which is free tier eligible. And scrolling down, we have a few different other options. We're going to keep these the default though. However, I do want to change the cluster name. I'm going to change this to MongoDB-tutorial. I can then click on Create Cluster. And here it is creating a cluster. It says new clusters take between 7 to 10 minutes to provision, so we have to wait a little bit. However, at this time, we can actually create some users. So if we go over to the Security tab and we go to Database Access. So under here, we want to click on Add New Database User. We then want to click on Show, and I'm going to auto-generate a secure password. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I actually have a text editor here open. I'm going to make a new file. I'm going to call this temp. I'm just going to paste it in here for now. You can paste it into a notepad or whatever you want, but we just want to save this password for later. And then going to name this tutorial. And then we want to read and write to any database, and this will not be a temporary user. We can then click on add user. We then want to click on network access. Now here you want to click on add IP address. So on this screen, you have two options. You can add your current computer's IP address, so only you can connect. And then once you actually host your application, you're going to want to have your server's IP address there so your server can then connect. However, if you are wanting to use this in a serverless environment where you might have this be connected to many different servers, then you're going to want to allow access from anywhere. And for simplicity, this is what I'm going to select as well. And then we can click on confirm. After a few seconds, it says the status is active. Now going back to our clusters under data storage, we see that this is still being created, so we can wait a few more minutes. So after waiting a few minutes, we now see MongoDB tutorial right here. We can click on connect, and it's going to give us a few different options to actually connect. We want to select connect to your application. So now we're going to want to actually create an actual project. So I have VS Code open as you saw previously, and inside of my console, I'm navigated into this folder. I'm going to use npm init-y to initialize a project. And then I'm going to make a new file called index.js. And I'm going to make another new file called mongo.js. Now inside of here, I need to install Mongoose. So in my console, I can run npm install mongoose. This is going to be a helper package that allows us to connect to MongoDB in a much easier way. So inside of mongo.js, I'm going to import that. So constant mongoose equals require mongoose. And then I'm going to have a constant called mongo path, which will be empty for now. And then I'm going to export a function. So module.exports. Inside, I'm going to say await mongoose.connect. Now, because we're using await, this function has to be asynchronous. And inside, the first argument is going to be mongo path. The second argument is going to be an object. Inside, we have to say use new URL parser is true. And then also use a unified topology is true. After this, we can simply return mongoose, and we can save and close this file. Now inside of our index file, we're going to actually import that. So const mongo equals require mongo. And then I'm going to create a function called connect to MongoDB. This is going to be an asynchronous function. And directly afterwards, we're just going to call this. Now inside this function, I'm going to say await mongo. This is a function that returns its own promise, so .then, and this is going to return a mongoose object. Now inside, I'm going to use a try finally. You might be familiar with try catch, and try finally is an extension of that. Essentially, it makes it so that catch is optional, but more importantly, what's going to happen is finally will be ran if our code works or if there's an error. So either way, and this is useful here because we want to make sure we close our database connection when we're done with it. So we can say mongoose.connection.close. And then here I can simply console log connected to MongoDB. Now if I save this, we can go into this temp file here. I'm going to cut this out of the file and then close this file. I can actually delete this. We don't want that. Now inside of Mongo, I'm going to paste this in as a comment. Going back into our mongodb.com, we can click on this copy icon right here. We could then go back into VS Code, and I'm going to paste it inside of the Mongo path. So the username we created was called tutorial. You would type in whatever yours is here. The password is going to be this right here. So I'm going to move this into here. And then we also see DB name down here. I'm going to name this test-db, and then I can save the file. Now I'm going to run this using node index.js. And we see connected to MongoDB. Now it immediately closes because there's nothing keeping the program open, but it did connect to MongoDB right here. We go back, we can close this. We can click on collections. And so here we see there's nothing actually here, and that's expected. Even though in our code we told it to connect to a testDB collection here, it was not actually used, and so nothing was written to it, and so it didn't automatically create it. However, in future videos, when we go to actually insert in data into our collections, then it'll automatically be created and you can actually explore that data here. Thanks for watching this MongoDB tutorial. If you need help or have a video request, feel free to leave a comment down below or ask in the Warren Off Keys Discord, which will be linked in the video description. If you want to learn more about MongoDB, you can consider clicking on one of the videos you see on your screen now.